You've been lied to about debt your whole life, and the lie is costing you six figures, not by Wall Street, not by your bank, by the one phrase every parent, every teacher, every broke financial influencer has been parroting for decades. Good debt versus bad debt, mortgage good, credit card bad, student loan good, payday loan bad. Sort your debts into the right bucket and you're chillin'. That advice isn't just oversimplified. It is the reason millions of people who think they're being smart are quietly getting robbed. Robbed legally, robbed slowly, robbed by math they never bothered to run. By the time this video is over, you'll know the one number that exposes which of your loans is building your bag and which ones are bleeding you dry, and you'll be able to run it on every debt you own in about 5 minutes. The people who use debt to get rich aren't smarter than you. They just know this number. Stay with me. Let's strip debt down to its bones, because the whole money world overcomplicates this on purpose. Debt has one definition. Someone floats you cash today, and you pay it back later with a fee tacked on. That fee is the interest rate. Your mortgage, your car note, your student loans, your credit card, the money Apple borrows to buy back stock, the money the U.S. government runs on. Every single one of them is the same hustle. Money now, money back later, plus a rate. That's it. The difference is people sweat over what you bought, whether it felt responsible, whether your parents would have approved. Those are stickers on the outside of the box. The machine inside the box is identical every time. Now, the classic advice takes that machine and chucks it into one of two bins. Good debt, mortgage, student loan, anything buying an asset. Bad debt, credit card, buy now, pay later, anything that buys a vibe or a depreciating hunk of metal. This idea is everywhere. It gets repeated like gospel. And it is wrong often enough to genuinely wreck people, because it sorts debt by what you bought. When the thing that actually decides whether debt builds your wealth or drains it has absolutely nothing to do with the purchase. Here's the rule this entire video rides on. Tattoo it on your brain. A debt makes you richer or poorer based on one comparison and one comparison only. The interest rate on the debt versus the return you could earn on that same money somewhere else. That's the whole game. Not the purchase, not the vibes. The rate against the alternative, Avia. Look at it through the lender's eyes, just flipped. When you carry a balance at some rate, you are guaranteeing yourself a loss at that rate. A credit card balance at 20% is a guaranteed 20% drain on your money every single year until it's gone. So ask the only question that matters. Could that same cash reliably earn more than 20% somewhere else? Almost never, so the debt is eating you alive. Now flip it. A fixed rate debt at 3% while your money is out earning 8 or 10% in the market. That debt is quietly making you richer because you borrowed cheap and put the money to work at a higher rate. Same instrument, opposite outcome. The only thing that changed was the number. This is the whole video in one idea, and now I'm going to show you what it looks like on real people with real money. First, meet Jake. By every normal scoreboard, Jake is on point. Never missed a payment in his life. Keeps a budget, pays bills the day they drop. He would tell you straight up that he's good with money, and he'd mean it. But Jake is also carrying about $8,000 on his credit card, rolling it month to month the way roughly half of American cardholders do. He treats it like background noise, like a utility bill, like a subscription he forgot to cancel. He throws a couple $100 at it each month. The balance creeps down real slow, and everything feels under control. Here's what Jake has never once calculated. That card charges 21.5%. The actual average rate Americans are paying on the balances they carry. On $8,000, that's $1,720 a year in interest. Just interest. Not paying down a single dollar of what he owes. Just renting the debt. That's $143 every month. Walking out the door and accomplishing absolutely nothing. Gone before it touches the balance. And because Jake pays about $200 a month, most of which gets eaten by interest, that $8,000 is extraordinarily patient. At his pace, it takes him 71 months, almost 6 years, to clear a balance that started at $8,000. And along the way, he hands the bank $6,200 in interest. He pays over $14,000 to retire an $8,000 debt. Jake, the guy who never misses a payment, is running a small, permanent charity for his bank. And he's never once felt it as a crisis. Because it never shows up as one. It just hums along, invisible, expensive, every single month. Now meet Brian. Brian's also got debt, a 30-year fixed mortgage at 6.5%. Under the old good debt, bad debt rulebook, Brian's golden. Mortgage is good debt, case closed, move on. But Brian's real superpower isn't the mortgage. It's what he refuses to do. Brian doesn't carry a revolving balance on anything that costs more than that mortgage rate. No credit card balance, no finance sectional sofa, no stack of buy now pay later tabs. When he's got money left over each month, it doesn't sit in checking doing nothing. And it sure isn't feeding a credit card minimum payment, because he doesn't have one. It goes to work. Say Brian invests $500 a month. The same $500 Jake is basically donating to his credit card company. At a 10% annual return, the long-run historical number people quote for the stock market. $500 a month grows to about $102,000 in 10 years, $380,000 in 20, and just over $1.1 million in 30. Now let me be real with you the way this channel always is. 10% is the nominal number before inflation. In today's actual purchasing power, that 30-year number lands closer to $610,000. Still insane. Still from $500 a month. Still from nothing more exotic than refusing to stand on the wrong side of a line. Look at what actually separates these two guys. Because it is not income and it is not discipline. Jake is disciplined, he pays every bill on time. It's not even the presence of debt, both of them have it. The only difference is which side of one number they're standing on. Jake's money is locked up at 21.5%, working against him. Brian's surplus is compounding at 10%, working for him, while his cheapest debt sits below that. Same paycheck, same financial instrument. One number pointing in opposite directions. So where is the line, exactly? What's the actual number? This is what nobody calculates, and it's worth getting precise. The line is the exact point where your debt's interest rate crosses the return you could earn on that money somewhere else. Below the line, debt is cheaper than what your money earns, so you keep the debt and invest. Above the line, the debt costs more than your money can make, so you kill it first. Every debt decision in your financial life is just finding this one crossover, loan by loan. So where does the line actually live? You need a benchmark for what your money earns elsewhere, and the honest answer has two versions. The safe version, a high-yield savings account, or treasury bills, is earning about 4% right now with zero risk. The ambitious version, the stock market has returned about 10% a year over the long haul, but that's not guaranteed, and it's not smooth. Put those together and a practical line shows up. Above roughly 8%, a debt almost certainly costs more than you can reliably earn anywhere else. So you go at it hard. Below roughly 6%, especially if the rate is fixed, you're usually better off keeping the debt and investing the difference. Between 6 and 8% is a genuine gray zone where your taxes, your risk tolerance, and whether the rate can adjust on you actually start to matter. One thing makes this line sharper than it first looks. Paying off debt isn't just a return, it's a guaranteed, tax-free return. When you invest and earn 10%, the government takes a cut of those gains. But when you wipe out a 20% debt, you keep the full 20%, no tax. Because you're not earning income, you're removing an expense. That's why high-rate debt is nastier than it looks on paper, and why killing it is better than it looks on paper. Which brings us to the single most wild fact in this entire video. Go back to Jake's card at 21.5%. When Jake pays that thing off, he's not just avoiding a bill. He is earning a return, a guaranteed, tax-free 21.5%. Now stack that against every investment he's ever been pitched. The stock market's celebrated long-run return is about 10%, and that's risky, and it's taxed. The best savings account on the planet pays him 4%. There is no legal investment available to a normal person that reliably delivers 21.5% tax-free with zero risk. And yet, it was sitting in Jake's mailbox the whole time. dressed up like a bill. Paying off that card beats the expected stock market return by more than 11 percentage points a year. Guaranteed, the highest returning, lowest risk investment most people will ever have access to is the high interest debt they already owe. This is where the good debt, bad debt framework completely falls apart. It would have told Jake exactly what it tells everyone. Credit card bad, pay it down eventually, without ever showing him that paying it down was the single best investment of his life. And this is also, weirdly, where the ultra-rich walk into the story. You've probably heard that rich people use debt to get richer, that they borrow instead of selling, that there's some cheat code the rest of us don't have access to. There's a version of this that's straight up fantasy, sold by guys in Lamborghinis who want you in a course. And there's a version that's completely real. The real version is just this same rule, run at a bigger scale. It's got a name, buy, borrow, die. The concept is dead simple. Wealthy people buy assets that go up, stocks, real estate, whole companies. They hold them so the gains never get sold and never get taxed. When they need cash, they don't sell the asset and write a check to the IRS. They borrow against it at a low rate and let the asset keep compounding. They're borrowing cheap and earning more. Left side of the line. Using debt on purpose because the math is working in their favor, Avarai. This strategy is real enough that lawmakers keep trying to shut it down. It's prominent enough that Jeff Bezos went on television to deny he uses it, claiming he didn't even know where the idea came from. Whether or not any specific billionaire runs this play, the mechanism is not exotic. It's the exact same rule Brian is running on his mortgage. Here's that same move scaled to a regular person. You need 50 grand, and you've got it sitting in investments. The obvious call is to sell, but selling triggers taxes. Say 30,000 of it is gains taxed at 15%. So you hand the government $4,500 and you lose all the future compounding on what you sold. Now the other play, borrow the 50 grand against the portfolio at around 7%. Leave the investments alone to keep growing at 10%. You're paying 7, earning 10, keeping a 3-point spread, about $1,500 in year 1, and deferring the entire tax bill. That's buy, borrow, die with fewer zeros. Same rule, same line. Abiyadavi. I'm not going to pretend this is a free lunch. Borrowing against your investments adds real risk. If the assets crater, the loan can get called, and you can get forced to sell at exactly the wrong moment. This is the deep end of the pool, not where anyone should start. I'm including it because it proves the point. What the wealthy are doing with debt is not a different game. It's the same line you now know how to find, with more zeros and more risk attached. So here's the answer to the question we open with. Debt and wealth are not opposites. They are the same lever. Point it below the line, borrow cheap, earn more, and debt builds your bag. Whether you're Brian with a mortgage or a billionaire with a stock portfolio, point it above the line, borrow expensive, earn nothing, and the identical instrument bleeds you dry. Whether you're Jake with a credit card or anyone who never ran the number. The rich weren't handed a different tool. They just learned which way to point it. Which means the only thing left to do is point yours. Here's the action. Pull up every debt you've got and write the interest rate next to it. Then lay each one against the line, Dobby and credit card at 21.5%. Way above the line. The highest return payoff available to you right now. Attack it first. Payday loan or buy now, pay later, creeping toward 30%. That's a 5-alarm emergency. Treat it like 1. Personal loan around 12%. Above the line, next in line to get demolished. Car note near 9%. Above the line, though the gap is smaller. Student loan around 6.5%. Gray zone, keep paying it on schedule and invest alongside it. Fixed mortgage at 6.5%. Gray zone leaning toward keep. Same call Brian made, and it's an honest one. Because paying it down is a guaranteed 6.5%. While investing the difference is only a probable 10% that might disappoint. The mortgage is not a slam dunk either way, and anyone who says it obviously is, hasn't actually run the number. Dov. Notice what this does. It completely throws out the good debt, bad debt bins and replaces them with one ranked list, ordered by rate, highest first. You attack from the top until you drop below the line, then you stop attacking and start investing. One exception worth naming. If your employer matches retirement contributions, grab that match before anything else. Because a 50% match is a 50% instant return that beats even the credit card. After that, the line decides everything, and the same logic applies to the asset side too. Park cash in a big bank savings account, paying the national average of 0.38%, and $50,000 earns you $190 a year. The same 50 grand in a high-yield account at 4% earns you $2,000. More than 10 times as much. Same safety, same FDIC insurance. It's the mirror image of the debt rule. Same money, same risk. Wildly different rate, and the only variable is whether you actually checked. Now step back and look at what this is worth across a lifetime. Brian and Jake earn the same paycheck. Brian invested his surplus from jump. Jake spent nearly 6 years clearing a card before he could even start. That head start, just being on the right side of the line first, is worth about $174,000 between them over 30 years. Not from earning more, not from some special investment, from pointing the same lever the right way sooner. Debt is not good or bad. It's a rate measured against an alternative, and that comparison is something you can run on every loan you own in about the time it takes to read the rate off a statement. The people getting rich off debt are not running some secret play. They checked a number you can check too. Now you know which number and which way it points. If you want to run the line on your actual debts, your real balances, your real rates, your real expected return, I built a calculator that does exactly that. You plug in each loan, it shows you in dollars which side of the line every one of them is sitting on, which to attack first, and what carrying each one is costing you against what that money could be earning instead. It's part of the Wealth Logician Calculator Vault, alongside every other tool we've built for the channel. Becoming a member gets you the whole vault, and a community of people who are actually running their own numbers instead of just winging it. If that sounds like your people, the link is in the description. Hit like if this video changed how you see a loan. Subscribe if you want to do the math on the next one. And I'll see you there.